Many people tried to break me throughout my life. Many gave up on me, and at one point I gave up on myself. Here I was, 330 pounds, facing type 2 diabetes, congestive heart failure, and high blood pressure, and the possibility of dying and leaving my family. I had to fight for me. After having weight loss surgery, I found myself again. Now I'm back. Most of you guys see me but don't know my story. What if I told you I wasn't always a big girl? What if I told you in high school my highest weight was 155? What if I told you as a child I lost my mom when I was 5 years old and my dad was never there? What if I told you I was raped by 4 different family members that changed the course of my life forever? What if I told you I had my first baby at the age of 18, which is when my body changed for what seemed like forever? What if I told you twice in my life I was a mother to 7 children, all before I was 30 years old? After having my 3 daughters, I continued gaining weight. I was going through so much: postpartum, depression, and feeling as if my kids being happy meant I was happy. I neglected myself so much so that I would only eat maybe once or twice a day, always eating dinner with larger portions. When I look at myself, I would feel ashamed, embarrassed, and I would find myself thinking about my days of high school when I was known as the thick red bone. I started to realize I hadn't healed from my past traumas. I was molested because of how my body looked, so why should I go back to being that girl? So I packed on more pounds. No one would see my body ever again. At least I thought. I started to wear jogging pants and big t-shirts, even big dresses to hide myself. But because my belly was bigger and never stayed in my t-shirts, oversized jackets, here I come. I remember talking to my brother Bam, telling him about how when I was in high school, I was that girl, booty, tits with the thighs to match. But more importantly, I told him how much I loved to dance. I always felt free, like when you're flying. Dancing cleansed my soul and made me feel pure. I was like I was floating on a cloud. He said, get back to you. So I started trying everything. Started eating better, running around our complex 3 times each day, treadmill, total gym, and then the refund check would come from school. And when that hit, boy, oh boy, it's time to try some new restaurants, go grocery shopping and buy snacks, which always was my downfall. So all my hard work, gone. Then came the Xbox 360 with Kinect and Dance Central. Oh my God, a game I finally can play and fall in love with. I did. I was battling my kids, friends, and family, and sometimes myself, because the person in the camera I didn't know. But needless to say, I lost about 20 pounds, and then life started lifing. So I was back to square one, 300 pounds and miserable. I could remember times when I would take pictures behind the camera, always capturing memories of my family without me. If I did get in photos, I would make sure my kids stood in front of me, or I would hide behind something. I even resorted to taking pictures from the neck up. Then we moved to Wisconsin. After seeing my doctor here, she expressed that I would start to decline because my weight. So she told me about bariatric surgery. I went to the meeting. In this meeting, I seen people in wheelchairs, but all I heard was, you will be on vitamins for the rest of your life. I was completely discouraged. I left and didn't think twice. In my own selfish way, I allowed some people I trusted to infiltrate my marriage, and I lost my husband during this time. I continued to gain weight. I ate whatever, whenever, and my health started to deteriorate. I was facing congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, a dislocated knee, diabetes, and I also started to battle with my kids' mental stability. I was completely falling apart. One day I started asking myself, like, what are you doing? This isn't your life. You're killing yourself and destroying your children in the process. It was time for me to stand up and get my shit together. I found us a place and we started over. After months, me and my husband rekindled. I knew I was on track and better in my life, but something was still missing. If I wanted to be truly happy, I had to fix me. It was time to get up and take my life back. One night, I was sitting on the floor, crocheting my hair. I had been there for 2 hours, not knowing my leg was asleep. I tried to stand and I fell. My leg hyperextended backwards. I called for my daughter as I couldn't move, but I had to get to the ER. My daughter pulled my car to the door as I crawled from our 2nd floor apartment. I drove myself to the ER only to get there and had no way to get out the car and into the building. I called the ER telling them I was in their parking lot, stuck. Someone came with a wheelchair to help. Once I was called back, I was shocked because I had a black male nurse, which has never happened living in Madison, Wisconsin. He took my blood pressure and looked at me and said, "Queen, your blood pressure is high. It may not kill you today or tomorrow, but it will kill you. I became so afraid that I would die and leave my kids like my mom had left me, and I couldn't take it. I contacted bariatric surgery by searching it on Google. I remember filling out this questionnaire of why I wanted the surgery and who I was doing it for. The next day I contacted my doctor and told her about me wanting to do it. She said to me, "I'm proud of you. I'll walk with you through this." I did 8 months of classes and homework, learning to pair meals, drink enough water, chewing to a puree consistency, and learning how important fitness was for my body. I finally met my surgeon and decided on what surgery I wanted after researching the pros and cons of a gastric bypass and then a gastric sleeve. After completing my classes, my meeting with my dietitian and therapist, I was cleared for surgery. Then I got the call. My surgery will be November 2nd of 2021, and I was to start my liquid diet October 19th of 21. My liquid diet was a roller coaster. My emotions was all over the place, but I fought throughout my surgery, and surgery day had finally came. My husband was back home at this point and helping me greatly. He made sure I was ready. He took me to the hospital. As I walked into the hospital, they took my blood pressure and did all the workup to get me ready for surgery. As I said goodbye to my husband, I was wheeled in to the operating room, not knowing it would change my life forever. After my surgery, I stayed 2 nights at the hospital because of my blood pressure. Even though it started to come down, I still just needed monitoring. After I got home, I walked around my house continuously to help with the gas, to help with the pain, and just to get back to myself. It was a struggle because as I thought I was healing, I started to feel unwell. It was at a point where I felt like I was going to pass out. I couldn't keep food down. Kept throwing up. I was even frothing at one point. And you may ask yourself, what is frothing? It's where bubbles tend to come up through your esophagus and you spit out literally bubbles. One night after eating, I started to throw up really bad and I felt like I couldn't keep anything down, and I was laying on the bathroom floor. And my husband said, "Baby, we gotta get you to the emergency room." So I went. And they checked me out and everything, and I found out that due to my surgery, I had pancreatitis. I had blood clots that were so big that they cut off the subcutaneous vein to my pancreas. So they started me on blood thinners. Now, this was the second time I had went to the emergency room, and that's when they discovered this. And I can't lie to you guys, I regretted my surgery at first because I was so in pain and I was not feeling well. And even one day I was driving and throwing up, but my husband kept telling me, just wait till you turn that corner. You're gonna turn a corner. And I finally did, and I got my life back. And I started to work out every day, 2 weeks, 10 to 15 minutes. After that 2 weeks, I increased it 15 to 20 minutes, from 20 minutes to 30 minutes, 30 minutes to 45 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour to an hour and a half, 5 days straight. And I focused on eating better. I focused on my exercise. I focused on my mental. I focused on my emotional, because I had to heal from within in order to heal the outside of me, because I refused to let my past traumas dictate my new life. So here I was, fighting to regain consciousness of my most purest form. So now when you see that girl in front of you on that stream dancing, understand she has been through the storm, in the rain, but she's always going to be a fighter and a survivor, no matter what she has been through. So here I am before you, thriving, growing, learning, and maturing to be the best version of myself.